Hey everybody!
Hello!
We're live!
Welcome out to the Borderlands 2 Game Club discussion. A little bit of tech issues, complete and total hard drive failure, not joking, and we're still up because thank goodness for laptops. So
Because of the power of love!
That's right. And speaking of the power of love, we promised some of you viewers that we would have ice cream on stream, and so we are keeping our promise to do so.
Because we
Here's
have,
to you!
Yay!
when I checked a couple days ago, 122 subscribers.
122.
I don't know where we're at today. We haven't actually... When was the last time we streamed? Thursday?
Thursday.
Yeah, I think
Channel's been
Thursday
quiet.
was magical.
Yeah. So we are super excited to have over 100 of you guys subbing to us on YouTube. And so as a thank you, we're eating ice cream on stream, I guess to make you jealous or something.
It's really good.
It's horchata flavored, so if you want to eat along with us...
Like, there are a few ice creams where
So-
I'm just like, oh.
If you're watching this after the fact, pause the video, go get some ice cream, and eat it with us.
Yes.
Come on, son.
Hey, it looks like we
And we
have
will too.
Pre-Small in the chat, one of the folks who joined us for Borderlands 2, so that's fantastic.
Excellent.
So the primary players of Borderlands 2 this month was myself, Raging Churro, Cinnabuns, and Wrathful Strudel. We also had, I think once, Melancholy Danish joined us for a little bit.
I power leveled him up to a level, and then he came and joined us for the
For
night.
like one stream, and then like disappeared off the face of the planet, like
That
going
was-
on vacation or something. But
That was my job, was power leveling people. It's like,
but we do have with us Eclair of Despair. She is going to be our moderator tonight. Kind of going through some of the questions. We would love to see interaction from you guys in the chat. Any questions or just any points that you guys want to bring up as we're talking, and she'll be pointing that out to us as well. So definitely talk to us, and we'll talk back, but not in the bad way that you do to like your parents or something. So
Maybe that, though.
I mean, maybe.
I'm not promising we won't do that.
So I guess without any further ado, let's just get started. Let's start chatting.
Prismal, first of all, is just very pleased that we are finally eating our ice cream on stream.
That's right, we did make some big promises.
We really did.
We follow through.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Now my whole mouth tastes like horchata. This is the happiest I've ever been.
right? This is...
So, the first question we have in discussion is, what games is Borderlands 2 similar to?
Well, I guess we can maybe hit up first impressions, right? Because that's just kind of like...
did we do first? Oh, sorry, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. I mean, only just because that's what's up on screen, right? So, first
I can't
impressions.
even read.
First,
I will not say anything else.
first impressions of the game. So, Claire, do you want to start? First impressions of the game, because I feel like
We're both returning to the game.
yeah,
So this is pretty
it's
much
my
your
first
question,
time,
yeah.
and if I recall correctly, you had a wonderful experience playing the game.
Yeah. So the reason I didn't join in the stream this time is because I really can't play Borderlands 2 without becoming very physically ill. So I chose not to participate this month. It's fine as a game. I'm not a huge fan of games where the drops are a big deal. I just don't think it's that fun for me. And I also don't enjoy being violently ill, so...
When a Claire is at a party and they bring out a piñata, she just leaves. She hates it. It's like, oh, it's all about the drops. It's not even about the hitting.
Yeah, no. I like hitting the piñata, but once the candy comes out, I'm done.
Done
Don't
for.
care.
Except for that legendary candy.
I know,
So,
man.
Starts glowing orange, and she's like,
Yeah.
It's all just candy.
You have to hit like 10,000 piñatas to get a legendary candy.
It's not worth it. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooters. I'm not a fan of games where you level up your guns to ridiculous degrees, and I'm not a fan of being motion sick. So it's just it's not
She
really
loved
my thing.
So, to piggyback off that, I do, in chat, Borderlands 2 several times inspired the F word, which of course I'm referring to the word farming.
Right.
If you can talk about farming in a game, that is a huge turnoff for me. I do not like farming. It's the opposite of fun.
Yeah.
But that's not my first impression.
No, for me, first impressions of the game, I never played it before. I know lots of people who have. So I kind of went into this thinking, oh, it's like first person. I honestly had no idea like what the genre of the game was outside of like, it's a shoot 'em up kind of game. So I'm traditionally really terrible at first person shooter games, but for whatever reason, I still play them anyway. And so this was no exception. I thought it was I think overall, just first impressions, a good game. It seemed like it had a pretty good balance. We'll get into some of the details, but like overall, I would say kind of a mostly positive and mostly kind of fun experience. I have qualms, but I think there was a lot of good in there too. So that's kind of first impressions where we're starting with.
Coming back to it, because I poured many hundreds of hours into the game, but it's been a little bit since I played it. But coming back to it, I was surprised by how much I remembered and how much I still laughed at some of the jokes.
That's good.
So I got into Borderlands 2 because she wasn't my wife yet. She was my girlfriend at the time. She and I and my brother-in-law played Borderlands 1 together and absolutely loved it. And so then we got Borderlands 2, played through that together, and there is no better way to play Borderlands 2. And so, like, I had two first impressions. As a multiplayer squad game where you're a team, it's awesome. As a single-player game, it's okay. I enjoyed it, I had fun, but it's not a rock star when you're playing a single player.
Right.
What's Prismal?
What kind of ice cream do we have? Caramel toffee. We have horchata, the wonderful Mexican rice milk drink made into ice cream. Horchata.
It tastes just like horchata.
It really does. It's fantastic.
And it makes me happy.
So,
yeah, it's good.
So let's go on to gameplay. So we're going to go ahead and...
Oh no, caramel toffee.
Do you-
You know what? It's your Mac.
And I've already nuked one today, so... Let's, we'll go ahead and... Hi, everybody.
Best
Hi.
part of the stream.
Hi. Hi,
You guys
guys.
are missing the excellent view of Churro's butt.
So we'll go ahead and switch that to gameplay.
The
So
Raging Churro.
that's
The
what we're going to...
raging Churros.
Wow.
Why? What have we
Fantastic.
done?
So,
Which segues
Yeah, that's
us
on
into gameplay. Speaking of raging,
Speaking
what
of
did you
raging
think of
churro
the gameplay?
So gameplay, and I think we're going to get into this a little bit with some of the other questions too. Like my first and foremost opinion of the gameplay of this game was it was World of Warcraft with guns.
Okay.
Like that was like the more I played it, I was just like, no, this is straight up World of Warcraft with guns. Outside of like the millions of people that can potentially be playing with you, but like the style of it's like it's all about leveling and questing and doing all of that kind of stuff and getting like the right drops at the right time and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that was like kind of the first thing that it reminded me of.
That's so for me, if we're comparing it to other games, the first one that came to mind for me was Modern Warfare, because Modern Warfare technically has an advancement system, and but then really when you get into it, I'd say it's much closer to Diablo, because Diablo is you blow crap up, you have these fun little tactical scenarios, and you get brightly colored loot, and you make your numbers go up.
Captain Falcon has joined us on the stream. Hi, Captain Falcon.
Hi, Captain Falcon!
Falcon Punch!
We had horchata
Yes.
ice cream. I think we're all done with our ice cream now, but you can join us.
I've finished my ice cream. I'm not done.
Fair enough.
Do I need to go get the ice cream?
Anyway, what would you compare it to, Cinderbuns? Borderlands 2.
Oh, the ice cream. I thought.
The ice cream I would compare to horchata and vanilla ice cream.
The drink.
And it measures up favorably.
Borderlands 2, I compare it to, I've always kind of compared it to the Diablo kind of things, but Diablo with guns, basically, because it's quests with better writing than Diablo,
Yeah.
and more humor than Diablo, and and more colors than Diablo, and guns.
If you assume Diablo's a satire, it's a pretty funny game.
Nice. But yeah, that's what I've always compared to. It's just a clicking RPG game, but with lots and lots of guns. I always kind of say the guns are another character because of the nature of some of them.
Well, some of them literally have dialogue.
Yeah.
So,
So, would you say... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So just moving forward, then I'd say how it compares to, for example, Diablo, is I would say, given a choice between playing Diablo and Borderlands 2, I would play Borderlands 2. I think the fighting's much more interesting. It's a game where I understand how the cover works, which is a real accomplishment for a shooter. And Diablo's fine, but I think Borderlands 2 wins on just being fun.
So I guess the main reason why I tend to relate this more to World of Warcraft than Diablo, although I think that's a perfectly fair comparison, is more from the idea of like side questing in this game is so much more important than the story. Like so much more important.
Okay.
I hit points where like basically like the game forces you into side quests in order to actually do things that it should probably have included into the main quest. For example, I went, if you guys watched the stream, I went probably 2 streams before ever using a single piece of iridium because I had no idea what the heck it was for or like what it did for me as a character. And I was talking to a coworker of mine and he's just like, oh, there's like a quest that like tells you how to do that. And I was like, was it part of the main story? Oh no, it's like this one that you just kind of pick up from, you know, one of the characters and, you know, it shows you how to do that. And I was just like, that's like an important part of the game. Why is that not part of the main story? And so like, so there's such this like emphasis on side questing and like making sure that you get all of your levels through, you know, exploring the game and doing the side questing that has this bigger, grander feel to it that feels a little bit more like World of Warcraft and like how like I'm gonna go talk to this guy. This dude's got like 5 quests for me to go do, and now I'm gonna go run off and, you know, collect Murloc heads or, you know, hood ornaments or, you know, whatever the case is for this side quest, and just kind of run around doing like all of this side questing stuff. And if I happen to, you know, progress the story along as it goes, then that's fine. Diablo is extremely linear, and they do have some side questing moments, but like 90% of it is pushing you along the storyline. And so I felt like, at least from that particular aspect, it felt a little bit more open, for better or for worse, than Diablo ever did. And so it kind of like, there was just that huge emphasis on like kind of doing other stuff and really the main story. Which was hard for me as like somebody who was just trying to push the story. So
something that I found is it's both a bonus and a detriment to Borderlands 2 in comparison with Diablo and just the action RPG genre in general. Is with Diablo 3 kind of screwed this up. But with Diablo 1 and 2, you could just go out and you could pretty much never come back. And you could just go do all the killing and the fun crap. And then, or Torchlight 2 is a better example, because Torchlight 2, you just send your pet back to go take care of shopping. And whereas in Borderlands 2, something that it did that was awesome is guns. It's not just making the numbers go up. Your decision is much more sophisticated than that, because there's a matrix of numbers, and then you also want your, I call it your damage portfolio. You want to have a diverse damage portfolio. Because if you just had iridium attacks, then you're not getting the benefit. Or was it slag? Slag. And so you wanted like different elements, etc. The downside of that is it made it harder for me to watch Futurama and play Borderlands 2 at the same time. I'd have to actually like, when I went to do inventory management, I'd have to pause Netflix and go manage my inventory, which the way I play these games, that's a downside for me. But how dare they make your guns more interesting and hard to choose?
And honestly, like I kind of felt that being kind of the detriment too, because like you pick up this like one really super awesome gun and it happens to have like an elemental effects that's just like not actually good for you.
Or like a clip size 1.
Like,
and you're
just like, oh gosh. And so
unless you're Necromancer, then clip size 1 is great.
But yeah, so it just kind of made like that feeling of like, oh, I just got epic loot, kind of diminished a little bit, because it's just like, I got this sweet gun, but now I'm fighting nothing but mechs, so I got to go to my level 13 teapot, even though I'm fighting level 22 stuff, you know, like because it's the only corrosive gun that I've seen in I don't know how long, you know, and so it kind of the way that it tried to shoehorn in certain parts of the gameplay just felt difficult as a new player, I guess is the way to put that.
Speaking of necromancers and guns, did you guys have a favorite class to
Necromancer.
play?
Necromancer with an M. There is mechs, not people.
Excuse me, Necromancer.
Yeah, the Necromancer.
Get out.
It has been a long time since I have played that game.
Well, it's expansion too. You've probably never seen the Necromancer.
Yeah.
I accept, because I haven't had that class.
So for me, when I first played through with my wife and brother-in-law, I played as the Gunzerker, and that's only because my brother-in-law insisted that he got to be the Zero. And the Gunzerker is boring. Oh man, it's a boring class.
Yeah,
you just
mention that.
I just stand out in the open and shoot everything. Zero, I loved playing the Zero as a melee attacker. As Sniper, he was probably fun, but I never got into it. I power leveled a Siren and a Psycho, and I liked the Siren a lot. The Psycho was but I think my winner is going to be the Zero.
So I agree about Gunzerker being just freaking boring.
Yeah.
And it never really felt special, right? And so, like, when you have this special ability, it's just like, now I've got 2 things to blow people up with. Whoa, oh crap, I ran out of bullets on that one.
Most shooters let you do anyway,
yeah,
now I do as a special.
Yay. And so I, as you may have noticed during the stream, I think it was after the first one, or...
Yeah, you were Gunzerker for the
first stream, at least. And then I think after that, I was just like, I need something else. And then, like, you guys in chat were like, you should play Siren. I was like, okay, I have no idea what that means. And so I made dinner buns power level me back up to kind of where we were at previously. So that way I could just be like, and now I class switch, guys. Hey, here we go. Yeah.
And then we reminded him to use his defining ability.
Yeah, so that's another topic in a little bit. But yeah, so it was just... Siren was okay. It got cooler as it went on, but it was, I don't know, like, out of the 2 classes, like, just kind of, you know, feeling different from any other kind of class, like the feeling that I had from playing the Gunzerker, switching over to Siren, like, it didn't feel very different, because it was still so heavily focused on the guns and what the guns were doing,
right,
that it was just difficult. And, like, I never got to max level, so I never got to max level. I still am not, and that probably makes a huge difference, right? But, like, it kind of sucks to have to wait to, like, be max level to really be able to feel a character all the way through.
And
you know?
I think they make a critical mistake that you have to get to level 5 to get your ability.
Yeah.
I think you should start the game, they're like, look, this is how we're different than other games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because the Zero, the assassin whose name is Zero, he only really gets fun once his melee attack starts really taking off, and that's around level 20 that he starts to get competent with his melee.
Yeah.
And that was, I was upset that there's this awesome game hiding behind a sort of vanilla game.
Yeah. And
Horchata game.
Yeah, an horchata game
horchata.
hiding behind the vanilla game.
Right. And I think that, I mean, like, games like this are often that way. Like, they don't, like, the game doesn't really technically open up until you hit a max level, until you can fill out an entire, you know, talent tree or whatever the case is, to really kind of get the flow of it. So, for instance, going again back to Diablo, which I played a lot of, like trying to, like, judge the game off of being, like, a level 30 character when max level is like 70 is stupid. So I get...
Oh, this is so frustrating. You see, this is what I don't get about you bad guys. You know the hero's gonna win, but you just don't die quickly. Man, example, this one guy in New Haven, right? City's burning, people are dying left and right, yada, yada, yada. This jackal rushes me with a spoon. A freaking spoon, and I'm dying laughing, right? So I scoop out his stupid little eyeballs with it, and his kids are all, wah! And I can't even, he can't see where he's going, he's bumping into stuff, and anyway, I don't know, maybe you had to be there. The moral is, you're a total bitch.
Good joke.
Thanks. That was probably my best. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to top that.
Yeah, you had to be there.
Sorry, guys.
Anyway, let's stop talking about aesthetics because they're boring.
What?
Music. I just like saying Jesper
Alright.
Keat, guys. It's a fun composer name. Check out his other work.
So I have something to say about the visuals, because this is actually one of
That's true.
the things
I
that
remembered.
that bothered me greatly while playing, and I think I mentioned how I wanted to nitpick at it. So I hated the levels of brightness in the game, and how pretty much every single guy you're fighting blends into the background. Makes it super hard to find them, super hard to actually be accurate in shooting them. And it bugged me to no end. Like, the coloring, and maybe it's part of the art style too, just because everything's so flat and so, like, thickly bordered, that, like, when you're, like, trying, because the sets are busy, like, the places where you're going are very, very busy. And so when you're trying to find the guy who's, like, shooting you from across the way, and you're like scoped in, trying to like look around and see them, like they just blend in way better than you ever think. And maybe I'm just bad at first-person shooters, but I think we already declared that. So
No, I think your depth perception just goes right out the window.
yeah,
in this game.
and it's just it makes it really tough. I think otherwise the game is beautiful. They do a very good job with the art style, but like just like that kind of style does not lend itself kindly, I think, to first-person shooter games.
I haven't complained about invisible walls yet, so this is as good a time as any. The terrain is inconsistent.
Yeah.
And sometimes a missile will shoot through a piece of terrain and hit me.
Yep.
And sometimes I will return fire and my bullets will ricochet off air. I'm sure every shooter does that, but so does this one.
Yeah. I also noticed that, like especially when you're trying to snipe, and you're like, I can see you through the bars. I got my shot. And I know this bullet can go through those bars and tag you in the head, but yeah, and then
then sometimes it does work, and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. So.
Invisible walls. It's an old game.
The only comment I have on the visuals is from the amount of the game that I did play, I did actually enjoy walking around town and looking at people and looking at the walls and going, wow, that's pretty. That's all I got, though. I didn't get too far in the gameplay before I died. So...
physically...
No.
And
We can talk about that later, but yeah, it takes me out for like a day. It's awful.
You should be allowed to shoot townsfolk in the head. And it can take it a game over or whatever.
Wasn't aware that you could not.
Can't.
There's
It's
one
not
specific side mission that we can do.
Yeah.
So, speaking
That's
about
just
shooting
shitty.
people in the head, let's talk about the characters in the story.
In order of most wanted to shoot them in the head to least.
Did this game make you want to shoot the main characters in the head? Did you like the story, or did you want to take it off the rails?
I've always liked the story, and I like the side quests because it brings humor to a usually humorless genre. I think
Yes.
usually
Yes.
shooters are grimdark, grimdark space marine stuff.
Or like hyper-realistic military
yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah.
this one's just like,
Well, realistic.
no, let's have fun with it. Let's have fun with the genre itself. Even let's have Shooty McShootface coming and
Face McShooty.
Face McShooty, thank you, who comes at
You
you,
offend me, sir. And the whole McShooty family.
who screams at you to just shoot him in the face and then thanks you right as he dies.
Yeah.
Loved that quest.
Yeah.
Just random things like that. It's just kind of play with the genre and say, let's have fun with this. We mentioned Handsome Jack a little bit later, but he's one of my favorite bad guys because he actually acts like in some ways like a real life bad guy would. In that
where he thinks he's the good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. To me, the story is like the major redeeming quality to the game, and the way that they portray the characters is like a really huge redeeming part of it. Because there were a lot of things that I found to be like pretty frustrating about the game, but the story was never one of them. I thought they did a very, very good job of kind of taking you along on the journey, of making the characters a lot of like fun for you to kind of interact with. And like very distinct from each other, and I thought it was a really, really well done story. Particularly this whole kind of like interaction between like you, the Vault Hunter, Angel, and then Jack, who's the father of Angel, right? And so, yeah, spoilers on a 5-year-old game. Anyway,
I don't know
so.
what that sentence meant.
Great. So anyway, yeah. So like that whole kind of like interaction is like she's kind of trying to play both of you, pretty hard and get to this end result that she wants and knows is actually best, and that you eventually end up kind of agreeing with. And so I thought that it was like a really, really well done way of doing things. And then again, you can kind of see them practice kind of their storytelling prowess when you get into some of the DLC. I didn't play through all the Tiny Tinas, but we started at that one time, and it just seemed like a lot of fun. Like they're very, very lighthearted, very humorous the entire time, and it just made it very enjoyable when you're going through what might be, at least for me, sometimes frustrating gameplay things.
Yeah.
So
Tiny Tina,
No, go ahead.
okay, I was gonna say Tiny Tina is actually where they realized that one of the things that players wanted was more interaction between the player characters amongst themselves, because there wasn't quite as much of that, and so they were like, oh, let's have a lot more of that. So they wrote a lot more of that into Tiny Tina, and then concentrated a lot on that, like, because when you play through the campaign, you notice they weren't tailoring the things they were saying to who was in front of them. So, they'd be like, oh, sirens are super rare. And you're sitting there, a siren right in front of them.
Talking to another siren about a third siren.
Yeah, and so they're like, we should...
Half the sirens in the galaxy
are like really in this room. Yeah.
Yeah, so that Tiny Teen is where they started playing more with, having it be more aware of who was talking.
The first time I played Borderlands 2, Jack's line of dialogue is the only reason I believe there are 6 sirens in the universe. But I think he's telling the truth. I believe that's lore. But then when you're in the fight with Angel and Roland goes, "She's a siren?" I was like, yeah, no kidding. Like, sirens are a dime a dozen on Pandora, man. So in terms of story, I think they do a lot of things right. And the things that I think they do wrong, almost every comedy does wrong. Yeah. Because one thing I think that they nailed is I really felt awesome. They deliver on the power fantasy that they promise. Yeah. And I actually think they hit that note a little too hard. Like, my character was a little too gritty. But I think that might just be the assassin character. Mm-hmm. And then I love that they present a really dark, heartless setting in Pandora. And then they put a funny twist on it. It feels very much like Firefly to me, where you have just this awful scenario, but you have witty characters occupying it. Mm-hmm. I do think some of the jokes kind of fall flat, but kind of every comedy has these are the high jokes and here are the low jokes to sort of
these are the interns jokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I don't think it's fair to criticize them too much on that, because every comedy that is successful does that. Yeah, I liked it. I have thoughts about Handsome Jack, but he's the next topic, so we'll come to him.
Yeah, before we move to Handsome Jack, I just have a question, half for you guys and half for the viewers, if you guys want to leave a comment. I just thought it was interesting what Cinderbuns said earlier about how first-person shooters typically don't have an emphasis on story, and I think he's right. There are some first-person shooters, though, that have tried to break out of that mold and have a much bigger emphasis on story.
Spec Ops: The Line.
Spec Ops: The Line is one I'm thinking of. I believe, really I want to say it's Modern Warfare 3. I really don't know, but there's
all of the Modern Warfares have storylines.
There's one where the storyline was surprisingly good, and I don't know which one it is. If someone wants to tell me, that's fantastic.
Uncharted does a pretty good job, too.
Yeah, and
I didn't know that was a first-person shooter.
And I was just wondering...
We own Uncharted 4.
How Borderlands 2 compares to those, and if you have any recommendations for first-person shooters with good stories. If you do, leave a comment.
In the gun, in the site.
Spec Ops is also...
That's another question that came up earlier, was how well did Borderlands age? And the only shooter I have played that has come out in the last couple of years is Overwatch. And Overwatch is way more fun than Borderlands.
We don't play a lot of first-person shooters.
Yeah, I was going to ask why, but I was like, I don't think that's a conversation we want to go down. But, yeah.
Feels good. It's fun. And the reason that came up is I was thinking how Overwatch tells their story outside of the game, which actually drives me completely nuts. Yeah, but I think they do have a good story.
Yeah.
So that's my recommendation. If you like shooters, play Overwatch. It's the only shooter I have played that has come out in the last couple of years.
Yeah, we may not be the best recommenders on there, but yeah, if you have a recommendation for a good shooter, that's not
we need you more than you need us.
Infinite.
So
that's true. Oh wait, that one had an incredible story. I didn't think of it as a shooter. I thought it was an interactive movie.
That's part of my thing, is I don't think I've ever played a first-person shooter that didn't have a strong story. Mostly because the only reason I will play it is for its
that
story.
Would be a decent Game Club game, although it is a little old now. Not as old as Bio.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, Borderlands 2, 5 years old, so I don't think
I'm
you can get
gonna
much worse than
shoot in the dark here. Speaking of old but amazing, how did you like Handsome Jack? How old is he?
Well done. Good segue.
Okay.
He has an old...
Yeah, he has
19, 20-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
oh, perfect.
So, I mean,
there's my question stands.
Good
He's
enough.
not that old, though. Come on.
He's got handsome in his title.
I don't know what he looks like or who he is. So. Take it away.
Yeah, Handsome Jack. I think he plays his antagonist role well, and I think by the time you get to the final fight with him, you definitely feel justified in your taking him out, right? Like,
yeah,
he gives you enough just cause, and I think they do a good job of also showing how manipulative he is.
Yes.
Throughout the entire thing, because if you ever feel any kind of sympathy towards him, like they make it very apparent that you were wrong, and like even like to the very end, literal like dying words, he is still trying to make you feel bad for what you did, like, and for everything that you're doing, that you were the bad guy, you know.
Well, and he's like, the thing that you've brought up, and I was talking to Cinderbuns about this, is the I'm a hero narrative that, in my opinion, is very poorly executed. I feel about halfway through the game, they decided it would be neat if Handsome Jack thought he was the hero of the story. And so out of nowhere, he decides, oh, I was the hero. Even though up to this point, you've seen him be needlessly sadistic and cruel with at least 2 different people. And if I'd done more side quests, I'm sure more people.
Probably not, yeah.
And then the way he took over the company definitely has some weird implications about how law works out here on Pandora. But I kind of accept we're in a Wild West setting, so you just go shoot a guy, and I guess now you own his shares. 'Cause that's how it works on Pandora. Well, the thing is, I could accept that is how it works on Pandora. I'm not complaining, but it was like, it wasn't clever. He didn't take over the company in a clever way. He's just obviously sociopathic.
Right.
Play the pre-sequel.
Oh, I do want to talk about the pre-sequel, but I haven't played it because I have some problems with Handsome Jack that I'll get into, but I want to hear you talk first.
Handsome Jack, I like a lot of his humor. I love Butt Stallion. You get to meet Butt Stallion and Tiny Tina's DLC.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a fantastic moment. She poops guns.
As any good horse should.
Yes. No, I like Handsome Jack a lot. I think, especially, I think the strongest moments with Handsome Jack come around the fight with Angel, where like
yes,
where like he it's no longer a me versus you, it's a pleading, it's a please guys, this is my daughter,
and that is his best moment.
Yeah, it's like it's no longer like I'm going to stop you, we need to do the Volcano. It's now like a personal thing, and I love that moment because it's like, guys, stop for a moment, look at what this is a kid.
Yeah, well, and how the password is I love you.
Yeah, and
just I don't know, I thought the fight with Angel is the best part of the game, and Jack is part of what makes it so good.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting because like you get torn as a player trying to determine whether or not even up to that point Jack is just straight up manipulating you, because I mean, to be fair, Angel has also been manipulating you the entire time. So it's like, it's not like she's like the sad character in this, because really truthfully both of them are trying to manipulate your feelings and your actions very, very much so. Each to their own benefit, although the one's benefit, I guess, was her own death. But, you know, it's... You never know when he's, like, pulling, like, it's my daughter, it's just a child, any of those kinds of things are really, like, him being sincere or caring about that, considering the way he's treated his daughter. But at the same time, it's just, like when Angel kind of fires back, like, oh no, he's like this super obvious, and I'm not saying he isn't, but he's he's an abusive person, very manipulative. You can't trust anything that he's saying. It's because Angel is also trying to make sure that you kill her, right? Like, I need to die. I don't want to.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so
That's
I mean, like,
really
you're kind of you're like rocking a hard place, and you're just like, well, I guess I pity you, so yes, I will help you die.
Yeah.
So
That's a really interesting take on it. I hadn't thought of.
yeah.
So one thing I want to talk about with Handsome Jack, because I've been thinking about him a lot, and especially the new U system, because the new U system is the game. It's put in as a joke, I think, but there's a couple things that makes it interesting. I don't think we're allowed to just dismiss it as this is the jokey way that the game tells us, oh, you didn't really die. First of all, the way it compliments you and tells jokes, I would give that a pass, but it doesn't reset the board. Like, you kill half of the bandits, you die, you come back, those half of the bandits are still dead until their normal respawn time, which I'm not sure how that works. And so the game is saying that really happened. That previous life was canon. Then the other thing is, I believe it's Jack himself refers to the new U system. And he says, go ahead, I'm just going to keep killing you because I'm so much better than you. But the problem with that is either Jack is arrogant to the point that he's an idiot, to the point that I don't think he's a good villain.
Right.
Or he's suicidal, which I think makes him an incredibly interesting villain. Because when he starts, I believe him when he says, you can go ahead and clone yourself all you want, I'm going to keep killing you.
Right.
By the time you get to Angel, if you die during the Angel fight, he didn't turn off the new U system.
No.
And when you get to the point where you're killing Jack himself, he doesn't turn off the new U system. And he owns Hyperion. I trust he is able to turn off the new U system.
Right.
And then what I think... This might be answered in the pre-sequel, and I don't know. It takes place after Borderlands 2?
It's between Borderlands 1 and 2.
Oh, then it wouldn't be answered then. I want
But
to
Tales
know
from the
if
Borderlands
Jack
follows.
had the new U system active on himself. Does it answer that? Okay. Because if
Play
it answers
Tales
that...
from the Borderland, which is in the Humble Bundle.
Because pretty much,
the rest
if
of
he
the
didn't
night.
have it active on himself, then he's suicidal, which I think is kind of interesting. And I suspect there's a sort of transfer of his opinion when you kill Angel. He's like, oh my gosh, I've actually done something wrong here. I don't deserve to live anymore.
Right.
Which, I love that. If that's his villainous arc, heck yeah.
Yeah.
If he has it on for himself, then he's just Jack.
Did he have it on for his daughter? I mean, like...
Yeah, well,
if you have infinite resurrection, and that's like such like a sticking point to this thing, like they draw so much attention to it, like...
So in
is
my
Angel really
head,
dead?
I came up with this canon because the story makes no sense if it works on his daughter.
Right.
And so, in my head, because she is a siren being pumped full of iridium, for whatever reason, that disqualifies her from the
Right.
new system.
Well,
And
it
just
has to.
that's how my brain was. Because obviously it does work on sirens, because it works on mine.
Doesn't work
Right.
on Roland.
That was actually another one. It doesn't bring back Roland for
Right.
whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's like the Phoenix Downs.
No. I want to talk
Phoenix
about
Down
it.
resolves KO, not dead. Okay?
Yeah, and that's what's happening with the new you. You get knocked out because
Oh, see.
you get knocked out and it zaps you back to a safe spot.
Also, can
But
we
if
talk about how Roland has no hit points?
Oh my
One
gosh.
pistol shot to the back,
Hey,
he's out.
it's a good pistol.
Anyway, so I thought that was kind of interesting, like the new U system, how it screws with the whole storyline. But if you assume the entire thing is canon, barring revelations from pre-sequel,
Right.
then Jack has a fairly interesting arc from going, I'm in charge of the world, oh my gosh, I've screwed up and I deserve to die.
Yeah.
And I think that's an insanely interesting arc. So that's what it is in my head, even though I do own the pre-sequel and I'll play it eventually.
I know we're talking about the pre-sequel and other Borderlands games a lot, but before we actually switch to that subject entirely, I do want to ask, is there anyone else in the cast, any other characters of Borderlands that really stuck out in your mind?
I do like Tina.
Tina. She was pretty much like Mordecai. I thought was just ridiculous. Pretty much
He's
any
the
of the other-
mechanic?
No, he's
Mordecai's the sniper from the first one.
Oh,
he's,
yeah.
He's the guy who kind of ends up taking over, like, which also felt super weird to me. Like, I'm just kind of like this side character with an eagle that dies, and now I'm the one in charge because everybody else.
Because
is dead.
the Vault Hunter is such an obvious new leader, right? I don't know. I'm with you on that.
Anyway, so
Mordecai's nobody. Who are you, Mordecai?
Yeah,
Nobody.
He's the Vault Hunter from.
No,
the
I
first
know
game.
who he is, but the current Vault Hunter is so much more important than he is
Yeah.
to the resistance movement.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
Although
just
when the bird blows up, I was really happy. I was rooting for Jack in that fight.
Oh my gosh.
I love that fight because
Yeah.
Jack's like, okay, slag.
Well, because I racked my own brain trying to remember what it was, and I couldn't
That's the
remember.
last one. All right, explosion.
And then he puts
Like,
the
oh.
giant dead bird in the middle of opportunity.
Oh my gosh.
That's, I don't know. I liked that. That was deliciously
Yeah.
cool.
Anyway, not a lot of the characters really stuck out very strongly.
I thought Lilith was okay.
Mm-hmm.
She bordered on cliche with her sass,
Yeah.
but I thought she was fun.
Yeah.
Roland was pretty typical.
Yeah.
The only character I remember from that game is the robot that talks to you.
Claptrap.
Oh, Claptrap.
Which
Claptrap.
I went from hating to liking to hating, I think,
Yeah.
kind of throughout the arc of the
So
game.
it's a-
Claptrap's
hate.
the sad clown that every comedy needs.
That's an excellent way of putting it.
I didn't know my only weakness was stairs and rust and birds and.
There's more in the series. Do you see yourself going back to Pandora? Sorry, I was reading the question.
Yeah, well, I guess now I don't have much to say. So we've talked a lot about Borderlands 2.
Fix something here real quick. Can you continue?
Sure. And you guys have said opinions, both good and bad, about the game. Do you see yourselves going back, playing this game more, playing other games in the series?
So I know for a fact that I'm doing the next Game Club game. So in the month of August, no.
Yeah, August.
But at some point, when it maybe over Christmas break, I do want to play the rest of Tiny Tina. And basically, I think I'll play it with Cinnabuns. I'm not going to play it single player again.
Yeah. I think I said as much as well.
Yeah. Pre-sequel is fun. They introduced some fun new mechanics in there, like the butt slam, which is great. Some fun new characters and you get to play as one of the Jack doppelgangers, and you interact with actual handsome Jack a lot and help him take over and stuff like that. And it's really kind of cool.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Because in Borderlands 2, all you know is he strangled someone important, and then he was the ruler of Hyperion.
Yeah, you will see that guy floating through space after he's been killed. And Tales from the Borderland is a different experience completely, but it does complete Jack's story in some ways, and it also has got some other fun characters. Also,
so what you're saying is basically like Borderlands as a series is the tale of Handsome Jack, in the same way that like Star Wars is like the tale of Anakin.
In some ways.
Well, Borderlands 3 was just teased, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been they're going to be announcing it hopefully with some footage sometime soon, because I'm all about that. Because you have like at the end of Borderlands 2, like they've got the key and stuff like that, and all the planets show on them, and they're like, oh.
Yeah. I'm curious, again, just kind of going back to that, has it aged well, if they're going to make changes to it to kind of help it feel a little bit more modern.
Instanced loot. Oh my goodness, guys. This isn't hard.
I saw.
Maybe it is hard. I don't do
kind of a side note, but Nioh, the samurai-ish Dark Souls game, came out. They introduced, they patched in a new way to interact with loot, so that you could set like limits to what it won't even let you pick up. Then, so like if it's like ignore all white loot or ignore all, it just you can't even like accidentally hit X to pick it up. It just is.
Does that count as a Dark Souls game if there's that much loot?
People were describing it as Samurai Dark Souls, so that's the phrase I used.
Fair enough.
All right. Sounds like we had generally a good time with Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
Overall favorable.
Yeah. So I mean, like if I'm giving like a rating, I would say like 6 out of 10. Because the story helps to redeem it. I feel like there was a lot of frustrating stuff going through the actual gameplay, but the story was redeeming enough to give it, I would say, an above average rating on that.
I would rate it at 350 hours out of 10.
Fair point.
I did not think about a rating. Because I'm giving this rating in 2017, I'd give it like a 4 out of 12. Because I rate out of 12, because we're a bakery-themed channel. Guys.
So it's 3 different, we got 6 out of 10, 350 hours, and 4 out of 12. Make of that what you will.
Because like, I even think it's like knocking on 3 out of 12. But the thing is, I think it's an important game, and if you like shooters, I think you'll enjoy it. But I don't know. I don't. In 2017, I don't think it's something that blows my mind.
Yeah.
You know.
I give it the ranking of unplayable. It's got nice screenshots. That's all I can look at.
Hey, Artstream, like you did that one drawing of Queen
yeah,
Psycho. That was fantastic.
I put spikes on his head, and I didn't know the reference had spikes. Anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, in the same way that like you read like a classic book, do you think it holds up well as like a classic video game?
I hate Jane Austen.
Yes, because it's in the not crowded enough field of comedy shooters.
Okay.
And for that reason, I think it's an important game.
Okay.
It's not as interesting as BioShock. It's not as mechanical. Well, actually, mechanically, it's decent. I just don't like shooters. So maybe I'm gonna keep it that solid 4.
Yeah.
Forget what I said. I was knocking on 3.
Okay.
So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments how you rate Borderlands 2. whether that be in a dozen, a 10, or in hours. Let us know how
Or whether or not you're able to play it.
or able to play it at all, for that matter. I think we want to hear from you guys. Just throw us a comment.
Yeah.
As a reward for commenting right now, because I can hear you typing, why don't we announce next month's game?
That's you, right, Senator?
It is me, because this is probably the second highest hour count in my Steam library. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Yay.
I am super excited for this game. I love pretty much every aspect of it. Whenever anybody brings it up in any chat, I immediately put the greatest game ever made, or something to the effect of God graced the developers with this presence and helped to create this game. So I'm really excited for Witcher 3. I know Wrathful Strudel here bought it during the sale and has been done a very good job of controlling himself and not just like playing it.
I did play some like 5 hours of it when we originally talked about it, when this channel was still a twinkle in our eye. But yeah, I really liked it, and so holding off has been rough. I'm excited to play it.
It may be worth pointing out, it is a long game, so the odds of us beating it in the month of
0%.
August are...
Let's just get that right. I will not be finishing Witcher 3 in the month of August, period.
There
If
we
I
go.
get to the boss fight, I will stop playing just to keep this promise.
Okay?
Which I won't get to the boss fight. That's ridiculous.
And that's basically what I wanted to get to there, so... We're,
Make sure we understand each other.
we're all excited. We'll be playing that in August, and it was good to just chat with all of you.
Yeah. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
We're going to still do a pre-recorded Witcher 3 announcement,
Yeah.
even though this is pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a pre-recorded announcement regarding the pre-recorded announcement coming
That's right.
out.
Which
Announcements
hopefully
of
this will come
announcements.
out before that one, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to stop now. Have
Okay.
fun.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Eat ice cream and tell us your favorite flavor. Bye.